Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome, welcome, welcome to the Mary D Talk Show. I'm so excited that you're here because today there's the only guest on is me. I'm the only one on today, so that makes it's totally different than what we're used to as far as the Mary D Talk Show. Because today I'm going to um, give you secrets. Some of you are that would say I want to be a writer, but or not even that you want to be a writer. I'm not even going to say that. You have something you would like to get down, you just don't know how to get it down. You don't know where to start. You don't know what to do. That's what today is. Today is like I want to give back to all of you. That's what today is. I want to do that. So first, as we always know, I always say it's a beautiful Monday. And it is. It is a beautiful Monday, so I have to definitely tell you that. I'm not going to necessarily go over the books today because you're going to see those throughout this entire presentation about writing and how you get there. I'm going to give you some information about my journey so you know how I got here. And some of you know, some of you don't know, but what led me here. And some information you may or not know, may or may not already know about me. Some of you do, but I will just be stressed with that or go over that. This is near and dear to me. Let me say that to all of you. This is truly near and dear to me. I um, I found out I could write by accident. It was not. It was. I'm not. Many of the writers that I work with and everything, they've been writing their entire lives since they were teenagers, which is really interesting. I did not do that. I'm not that person that I've been writing ever since I can remember. I worked with so many excellent writers, but they've had years to hone their skills. I haven't really necessarily, I would not, I say, haven't honed them. I mean, I have skills, but not because I've been writing for a long time. Because my writing, much of my writing is by inspiration. I've been inspired by something that either happened in my life or something that's said or something that comes to my spirit. And I write. That's pretty much for me. I'll tell you that. So, it might give you some background about me for those of you that don't already know. I am a retired teacher. I taught history. I was a history teacher, work experience coordinator, career in charge of the career center, and then at one time I was even a vice principal. I was an interim vice principal at the high school. So I've been so many different roles and positions and things like that. And I think we bring all of that into our writing. There is no one theme. The all of the life experiences. I'm also a mother. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. Um, I'm a grandmother. For those of you that didn't already know it, I was widowed at 35 and widowed with three children, three sons. They're all adults now. And I look back, and all of those things matter to what I bring into my writing. Um, Unfortunately, I've been through deaths of both my parents, two brothers, not to mention other family members, but immediate family, they have passed. I have two sisters that are living, immediate two siblings that are living, and but tons of nieces and nephews and things like that. So just so you kind of get an idea that this is not a one thing. This is not one dimensional. Um, and all of them have stories. Let me say that. I have a nephew, he's written a book. Our two sons have written books. Cousins have written books. But what I noticed that much of that came after they saw my book. The very first one many of you are familiar with that was published, not the very first one I wrote, by the way. The very first one I published was There's a Rocket in My Pocket. That's still on Amazon. It was the number one Amazon best-selling children's book for 2 consecutive weeks. There's a Rocket in My Pocket. It became my very first number one Amazon best-selling book. And I remember the day when I looked online and saw that. I just kept staring because I couldn't believe it. I said, how is it that you went from not writing a book and you have a number one Amazon best-selling book for 2 consecutive weeks? That was so unbelievable to me. It was literally unbelievable. But what I learned and what I'm going to teach you today, and just kind of, I'm hoping to jumpstart someone's um, desire. The reason you're probably even here today is because you have a desire. But desire, you need more than that. Let me just say that to you. Desire is only one step that you're going to need. Um, but I'm going to go over some things I think that's going to help you get started and know that you're in the right place, you're in the right space. There is no right or wrong. I say that because sometimes we think, oh, it has to be this way, it has to be that way. There is no right or wrong. Right now, we are living in a time that is unprecedented. Unprecedented. There are no more barriers to entry. Think about this. Not that long ago, I was not able to sit and have a show called the Mary D Talk Show and truthfully be able to talk to the world. I'm not just talking to local. It's anyone that would like to log in the world. You can get on the show. Period. You can be on YouTube. You don't have to even have a link. All you have to do is go to YouTube and put in the Mary D Talk Show. No link, no nothing. It's no difference. The barriers to entry. The only barrier we have now is all in our head. That's it. It's all here. There's no other place because you can write a book, as you know. You can have a talk show, as you know. You can. There's so many things you can do that are literally. Let's not mention social media. To go on to have a Facebook page, to have your Instagram, to have Twitter. All the social medias that are just phenomenal. And I haven't even begun to do all that. TikTok, come on. It is literally staggering what you can do. So don't say, oh, I can't write a book because I can't do this, I can't do it. If you can't even write, you can write a book. Can you believe that? Think about what I just said. If you cannot write, you can still have a book. Yes. Everything is here now. What does your imagination say? That's what's going to matter. So we're going to get started. Okay. The very first question, and before I even get into questions, I have LaVon says, Mary, I'm here. And Richard, hi, LaVon and Richard. Welcome to the show. So glad to have you here. And I'm saying that because when I say the way that we're going to get started, some of you are going to be like, you're making it sound so easy. And the truth is, this is what you're going to really learn today, ladies and gentlemen. It is. It really is. But we make it hard. Let me say that to you. We make it hard. First, I'd like to ask you this one question. Why? Why do you want to write a book? Why? Is it the story? Is it something you heard or something you want to repeat? What is it? What is the why for any of you? Because that's what's going to keep you going. For me, my why was I wanted to leave something for my children and grandchildren. I look at my parents and my dad, both my mother and father, so much wisdom. But if it's not in me, it's oral wisdom. It wasn't written down and cannot be passed down. It can only be passed down if I tell the next generation. But now the next generation they're adults, so they're telling their children. But somewhere it's going to get, as they say, lost in the sauce. That's the truth that matters. But if you write it down, and I use saying no nicely as the example of that. Many of you, and I like to thank each and every one of you that bought that book, because saying no nicely is still, to this day, is the number one book I sell. I sell more of that copies of that book than I do any other. Think about this. Any children's book that I've written, nothing compares to this book. And I'm saying this because this was a why. Why did I write this book? This is a good example. Because this is about me. This book is about me. I did not know how to say no nicely. Think about that. So once I learned, I put in a book where you can learn. Now you can say no nicely, or you could learn how to say no nicely. So that's why this was important to me. This was me. And I'm going to use this as you could say the backdrop for as we go on, because that I'm saying that was my why. Let me say that. This was a personal why. Say no nicely. So if this is something that you may say, this is why I have friends. They're like, I don't struggle with saying I know how to say no, and I sit back and I listen to them sometimes, and they don't. They say yes and want to say no. We all do, but how do you say it so you do not injure the relationship? That's why we don't say it. We don't want to hurt people's feelings. Women don't want to be called the B word. We don't want someone saying, oh, this, whether they saying it or not. It's in our head anyway. But the point is, you have to say no sometimes. Everybody does. Everybody. There's no getting around it. There's no way to avoid it. My other why for the children's books, I'll tell you, was I wanted something for my grandchildren to read. That was it. And I'm still writing children's books, by the way. But it was more for them, I think, than anything, for them to read. So yeah. So that was in essence why. But I'm gonna defer back to this because this has chapters in it, and that's why we're gonna talk about chapters and everything else. Next, let me go over that with you, and let me go back. It was another comment that says right here. Oh, it says Wybani says, "Oh, you're here too, Wybani." Hi, Wybani. Hi, Richard, Wybani, Levant. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate all of you, as many of you know. I don't just say that lightly. I really, really do. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for coming in. And my goal is that you get something out of this, because otherwise I don't want to waste your time. I'm sure you have better things to do. So my job is to bring you information here that you can really, as the saying goes, sink your teeth in. Why do you want to write it? Next, what is it that you want to write? Is it fictional? Is it non-fictional? Is it, I always use a children's book. Is it your memoir? What is it? And I say that because you got to know what it is. For me, as I said before, this was about me. This was about me. I had already had the ideas were in my head, but I never put them on paper of what I was doing when I learned how to say no nicely. And I'm going to give you one of these tips out of here before this broadcast is over, because somebody needs to know, how do you say no nicely? And I'm like I said, I'll break down the chapters to you, and I'll even tell you how I started, because the book is really it's a very short read. It initially started with almost 100 pages initially, but we'll go over that too, the importance of editing. That is just phenomenal. But what is it that you want to write? Nothing is off limits. I don't know how to stress this to you enough. There is nothing off limits. Everything goes. I mean, come on now. I don't want people saying, well, how will we write this? If you're writing something that you may or may not want people to know it's you, then write under another name, a pseudonym. Who knows? I don't know. Right? I'm just saying, but get it out. Right now, I'm not happy to say this, but it's the truth. 3 people that I personally knew that said they wanted to write a book, kept telling me they wanted to write a book, talking to me about writing a book. There was all this going on. They died before they wrote that book. And all of these are not old people. Just so you know, I don't want people to get the wrong impression. They weren't. I don't want to no, they were not. Oh, is that Sabrina? Hi, Sabrina. I haven't seen you. Hi, sweetheart. I haven't seen you in a long time. I see your mom, though. But welcome to the show. Welcome. So I'm saying that, and I'm not saying this to scare you, as I am saying, okay, told you. I'm saying it to scare you. I was telling you to scare you, because if that's what it's going to take to get you to make moves, then I'm saying it to scare you. But I'm really saying it because none of us know what breath is going to be our last one. No, nobody. I just got a call right before, I hate to even admit this, right before I came on the show, I got a call that a gentleman who I've been knowing for years just passed away. Now, I must admit, he's written over 100 books. So he's made his mark. But the point is, Still, he's no longer here. So whatever, and that may not be the only books he had. Maybe he had more books in him. I don't know. But the point is, he's no longer here. That's the point. So I'm saying this to all of you, and I hope I do hit home. Write it down now. And I'm going to give you the places. I'm just going over this part, and then we'll go into what to do, how to do it. We're going to get into the logistics. I'm sorry. And I saw Elaine went back to, who did I go back? That was Sabrina. You'll be at the meeting soon, but you're listening about the book. Okay. Got it. Thank you. And then we have Elaine. Elaine said, you're here too. Hi, Elaine. I tell you, Elaine, you do not be missing anything. Elaine said, who knows? Maybe I'll write a book if God says so. Good points you're giving, Mary. Oh, you're welcome, Elaine. When I tell you, Elaine's a retired teacher also. We both worked in the same school district. I was at the high school level. I think she was at the elementary level. I think, am I right, Elaine? You're at the elementary? So I can tell you have educators here, but that does not, let me just straighten that out now. My being a teacher, if you want to know the truth about it, people have this misconception. Oh, you're a teacher. That's why you write. This is what I ask people. How many teachers do you know that are authors? You see what I'm saying? That has nothing to do with it. Has nothing to do with it. It's because I made a choice to write it down. And we're going to talk about that. Because the next part, I'm going to go over this with you. Because it's just paramount that you do these, and we're going to get into that, of how important it is to do that. Now, I asked you, what do you want to write? And the next question is, when do you want to write it? When? Is it next week? Is it next year? Is it within, you want to have a book in the next 5 years? I hear this all the time, by the way. And I'm always curious when somebody says, oh, I'll do it next year. Now, that crystal ball that says you will be alive next year, I like to know where that is, because there isn't one. But we have this misconception about time and how much we have. And I'm only this age, so I know I'm probably going to live to at least about another 10 years, 20 years, whatever the case may be. You don't have time, ladies and gentlemen. I know you think you do, but you really don't. So we're going to get started. Okay. First, let me say this to each and every one of you. What I start with on my, and I'll use Say No Nicely. We're going to get into as how I start my whole process. First, here's a book I want to make sure I show you this. This is what I write on. That's it. And I usually put these, depending on how much, once I've typed up what I've written, then I type it up and I put it in one of these, depending on how long it is. But I'm saying that to you. Well, I can't really show you mine. I have all kinds of notes in here. Otherwise, I'd show them to you. Because, I don't want to, well, you just can see the back of this. But this is what I use. I type it up and I put it in one of these. But everything starts here for me. This is where I start. Just a notebook. You get them at 99-cent store. I know, doesn't it sound so simple? It really does. But it is the truth. I don't start with any, life-changing events here. It's not like that. It is notes written down. That's it. Notes. And I'm going to tell you how they started. I actually said the words. This is how this one started. I said, say no nicely. That's what I tried to learn how to do. Once I said it, I took that, just saying those words. Now remember, not the book, the words. And I wrote them in a book like this. And it just said saying no. No, it didn't start there. I'm sorry. It said how to say no nicely. That's how it originally started. And what I've learned, and I started just doing my own observations, is that people like shorter titles. So I shortened it to saying no nicely. But a lot of people always say how to at the top anyway. But this is how it started. I wrote my notes in here. Way I wrote the notes were, there were notes. Think about it, just ideas. This is how I said no nicely to a friend of mine. This is how I said no nicely to my children. This is how I said no nicely to a boss. And guess what? When you open the book, guess what the chapters are? Now I'll let you see it. Because people often ask too, well, where do you get the chapters from? This is where I get them from. Everything you just heard me say, those are the chapters of the book. Look, saying no nicely to family and friends, saying no nicely to your significant other, because I didn't want to put husband or wife, because sometimes you may be married to him, you may not be married to him. I don't know. Saying no nicely to a boss and coworkers, saying no nicely to social functions. Have you ever had to say no because you couldn't attend a social function? I have. And let me tell you how that got. This got in the book. I'm going to tell you what about the experiences that led to that. Say no nicely to yourself. This is me. Saying no. Oh, then the other one. I added this caveat. The art of manipulation. The art. Think about the art. When I wrote this, there's an art to manipulation, because, and it's in the book, by the way, we will say yes. And I'm guilty of everything in here. I'm guilty of it. We will say yes to somebody just because we want them to say yes to us in the future. Think about that. We will say yes. So we want to say no, but we don't want to say no to that person, because just in case, we're going to say yes, because then, a week from now, a month from now, we're going to need them to say yes to something. That is manipulation. And it talks about that in here. And why this is in here is because not only did I do it, I try not to do it now. Don't get me wrong. I've learned a lot from writing the book. Is because when you do that, when you, instead of being honest with that person and telling them and saying to them, I'm going to say yes, but I need you to say yes in the future. I need you to say yes to this, or I need you, a month from now, whatever it is you need. The point is you're not honest with them. If you're not honest with them, you're manipulating them. All in the book. And then the last but not, I'm almost last but not least, last chapter, separate refusal from rejection. Think about refusing and rejecting. When you're in the refusal or rejection stage or phase, that in itself it shows you when somebody's refused to do something versus they rejected to do something. They're two different things. They're two different separately things. They can refuse to do something, but they could do it. There's a difference. Or they rejected to do something that they could do. I know it sounds crazy, but it's two different things, and how you take all of those. And then I wrote a conclusion to that. Now, this entire book, and I'm just, whether you get the book or never get the book, doesn't matter. Believe me, I promise you, God has been gracious enough to bless everything I've been writing. That's why I know God is in it, because for me to sit here and say, oh, I'm all that. No, I'm not. I'm a vessel. And being a vessel, the one thing I've learned to do, write it down. If you don't take anything from what I'm saying to you today, take this. Everything you see and hear, everything you see in this notebook, the difference between me and you, I wrote it down. That's it. It sounds, like I said, it sounds simple, doesn't it? I wrote it down. When those ideas came to me for this, I just wrote them down. When the way, and I mentioned this earlier, the outline. I'm going to show you. I have to tell you about the outline. The outline for the book, the chapters, everything you see right here, that's my outline. That's my outline that you're looking at. Think about this. So when it came to writing the book, did I have to really work hard at that? I'd already wrote. All I did was really address every single topic. And next thing you know, I had a book. That's all I did. Now, when I felt it was fluff, or another way you can put it, when you start repeating yourself, that's when you know you need to cut back, or I say cut the fluff. This book was edited 9 times. I had friends edit it, and then I actually paid for editors to edit. First, I had friends edit it. It was edited for grammatical errors first. What did I do grammatically that wasn't correct? So I had an English professor grade it, or I say grade and grade it, but they edited it. It was like grading it. And then I went to, after I got a really good manuscript, then I asked friends to read it and asked them to make notes on it. This took over a year. It was over a year process, about probably say 18 months from beginning to end to publication. So, and I'm saying that I'm gonna give you some tips before I go into other books to write. The one tip, which one should I say? Oh, this is at the beginning of the book. It's an anonymous one, and it says, "Simplify your life. Learn to say no." It's anonymous. Somebody wrote that. So, okay. So I would encourage. That's a tip. Learn to say no. Okay. And we have Elaine. She says, "Here you go, Elaine." She says, "Yes, almost 50 years in first. I thought it was elementary, first to the sixth for the sixth, but volunteered, worked with middle school, high school, and college level students, especially for scholarships information, distributed, still in contact with many students. When I tell you this lady is a powerhouse for finding money for kids to get their education, you couldn't find anyone better, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to give you a link. And those of you that are interested in scholarships for kids, when I put the link up, and I'll put it, might as well put it up. You can go, if you put on there when it's, and it asks at the bottom if you have any comments and you'd like to speak with Elaine, I will give her your information so you can speak with her. So I will definitely refer you to her. And let me see if I can put that up for you. Now, I tell you about the outline. We did go the outline, right? Or did we? I did say that was my outline. I was showing that to you. That's how the book got started. Based on that outline, I wrote first, what do I want the book? What do I want my audience to learn? Those were the chapters of the book. I wanted them to know how to say no to your significant other, how to say no to family and friends, how to say no to coworkers and boss. Like it or not, ladies and gentlemen, there's a way you can do it, and you'll be in everybody's good graces. That's huge, because that's the one thing we fear. We fear not being in their good graces. So what do? Somebody asks you to do something, you don't want to do it, you say yes, because you want to maintain that relationship. This actually happened. This was the manuscript. Think about this. A lady was reading the manuscript, a friend of mine. Read the manuscript, I think it was on a Wednesday night, went to work that Thursday. She calls me from inside the bathroom with her job. And she said, "Mary, it works." I didn't even know what she was talking about. This is true story. I said, "What works?" She said, "I use what's in your book. My boss," think about this, her boss is walking up to her, bringing her work to her desk. That's not even her work. And she thought about what she had just read from the book. She said, "I used it." And the boss looked at me, smiled at me, said, "Thank you," and turned and gave that work to somebody else. She was almost in tears. She said, because the boss always did that to her, brought her other people's work and put it on her desk. But when she learned how to say no nicely, and the woman the relationship was intact, she said she wanted to bust out crying because she never knew how to do it. So she always just accepted it. So I would, as I said before, this is, as they say, it's a shameless plug, but I'm just using this as an example because I have other examples to show you too. But I just wanted to make sure I went over that with you. So keep that in mind if you are struggling with that particularly. If it's not, no problem. But I promise you there's somebody who is. Remember, if you're writing, write it down. I'm using this. This is the key. A book like this is I think they're 99 cents at the 99-cent store. You can get them like the same price at Walmart. I'm giving them plugs, wherever, but get something. Let me tell you why this is important, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't have to be this. I brought different ones to show you what I did. Because you have to give your work a home. This is what I used to do. You see the back of an envelope? I cannot tell you. I lost so much of my creativity because I wrote on the back of envelopes. That's how little I thought of it. I didn't even put it in a place. I didn't even know where the envelope was after I wrote it. I don't do that anymore. Now, everything goes, as I said before, in a notebook. It goes where I can come back to it. I've had ideas I've written down, like partial books or partial poetry. But guess what? I can come back to it. It's written in one place. Give your work a home. This is huge. So I just want all of you to know that. Give it a home. And I'll say this: if you're the write on the envelope person, which I was, then put the envelopes in the notebook. At least they're in one place, and you can come back to it. That's what I would encourage you to do. Okay, make sure you do that. Next, and I had all my notes, and I did. I said I want to make sure. I said this was so important to me to go over this with all of you because I want anyone who has a desire to do any of this to do it. Now, this book, some people are back, the children's books. I'm going to go there because I'll go through that. Then I'll go through the other book. People say, where do you get your ideas for your children's books? I actually said this. I did, truthfully, this book, this is the newest one, Justin Lost a Tooth. And the way, I think I've talked to some of you about it, of how I'll read some of it, how it starts. And this is dedicated to my son and his family, Samuel Dennis and Brittany and Ethan. So this is dedicated to them. Almost every book I write, I dedicate to a family member. Let me say that now. I always do that. The reason I do that, and you don't have to do that. Let me just say that to all of you. You do what you want to do. I do it because it's my way of including them in everything I'm doing. The very first book was dedicated to my mother and father and my brothers. That, those of you that seen that book, is dedicated to them. Now, in this one, and writing children's books, initially there was no name on this book, by the way. I wrote this book because I said, what would it be like if a little child was giving directions to a teacher? This is how I wrote the book. This was based on that. And the title of it was actually He Lost a Tooth. I changed it to Justin Lost a Tooth. And Justin is one of our sons. As many of you know, he has a book out too. And then what I did when I wrote I said, okay, you have a little kid. And I took one of these. This is all I did. Started writing notes. What would it be like if a little child told the teachers, told everybody what to do? And because that's not the norm. And how it starts, as I started with the dedication, it's dedicated to them. It says, everybody freeze. Don't move, don't laugh. Justin's tooth fell out and it's in this class. Think about that. This is a little kid. And you see Justin with the shirt on here. So it says, everybody freeze. Think about it. It looked like, what is he? 3, 4, 5, something like that. Little. It says, everybody freeze. When they say everybody freeze, what does that mean? Does that also mean the teacher? Yes. So, and it says, everybody turned to look and see there was a hole where Justin's tooth used to be. That's the next page. I like to rhyme. I know that I'm pretty sure that comes from reading Dr. Seuss to my children, but I like rhymes. I like books that rhyme. Next, this was serious business, and we all knew Justin needs his tooth for the tooth fairy to come soon. So this wasn't serious. This is serious. He needs his tooth. That's it. So everybody's in here. Everybody's in there looking for his tooth. You place your tooth under your pillow, and lo and behold, in the morning, the tooth fairy leaves you money, some silver, some gold. For me to know that this book is a book that either a child can read or the parents can read to the child, and they see the color, just real colorful. That's another story. I don't want to get into illustrators today. I'm just getting into writing of the book. But all of this was written first here. The entire book was first started by writing here. That's how I started. After I finished the book, I did get it edited. So and I can tell you, just so you know, those of you that might be interested, how does the book end? I'll just tell you how it ends. It says, my friends all help, and the teacher is Mrs. Stokes. That's the teacher. She says, my friends all help, and Mrs. Stokes too. Finding my missing tooth was one of the best things they all helped me to do. So she's in the picture too, the teacher. So the goal was to be inclusive, but also show the power of a little child and how important that tooth was to him. But it was still, initially, it was not Justin lost a tooth. It was he lost a tooth. But I changed the entire, and Justin lost a tooth sounds so much better anyway. So, but I will tell you, that's how the book got started. But it was based on an idea. That's all it was an idea that said, what if a little child had control of a classroom and said that? That's it. The other book, let me go and I'm looking see if there's any comments before I go. I'm saying all this because I think we look at sometimes and it looks like it's something magical that we're doing. I'm not saying it isn't, but I would say it's based on an idea. On that's what's how it started, on an idea. So I'm saying that to you. You have ideas, ladies and gentlemen. But the one thing I have found is most people do not write it down. I was talked to someone recently, and she said, "I wake up 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I get these brilliant ideas, and I say, okay, Lord, I'll write it down in the morning." She's told me herself she has never remembered one of them, never. And I'm saying that to you because if you don't write it down, it's gone. It's gone. I'm speaking what I know is be true. How did this happen? Have you seen a red elephant? I actually said these words. This is how I started. I said, have you seen a red elephant? Just think about this. Have you seen a red elephant? That's all I said. I wrote it down. It was in a, as I'm going to show you as always, I put it in one of these and it just said, I just took a page and it just said, have you seen a red elephant? That's all it said. It sounds so simple. When I wrote, have you seen a red elephant? I literally had no idea that it would end up being a book. All I did was write it down because I just didn't, I never heard that, have you seen a red elephant? And this one is dedicated to my husband, Oliver. So he has a book dedicated. I want to make sure because those of you that you don't see the behind the scenes, that it may be 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm still working because number one, I'm retired, so I can't do that. But because it's quiet, no phones are ringing, no text messages, no nothing. And that quiet time is when I don't know a lot of work. I can get a lot done. I try my best to get. And now I even have an assistant. That's how busy we've been getting. So I'm saying that to say that many of you can tell they came from a conversation. Have you seen a red elephant? What does it say? Have you seen a red elephant take a bath? Because I wanted to rhyme. Have you seen a red elephant doing math? Oh, sorry about that. I just now see it. So the take a bath is right here. Now, I'm going to also tell you this. This was supposed to be the cover of the book because I thought that was the cutest thing is a red elephant taking a bath. But I changed it to this cover. And I think this one, it's the cover because he's in the rain. But I like the elephant taking a bath, but I didn't want you to see the red elephant taking a bath and then you turn the page and you're taking a bath. That's too redundant. And that's why every single aspect of this is well thought out. You don't just jump up and throw it all together. Honestly, it's at least a year to 2 or more to put the book together. For me, the children's books are about a good year, easily. I have 3 children's books that are coming out in Spanish. I've got now all of my books will be in Spanish so that you can buy because the Spanish market is real. So that's what this is. That's the Red Elephant book. And I'm saying that so that you can get more ideas. Now, any questions before I go on? Because I'm telling now, and I say the secret sauce, and there is a secret sauce. What I've been telling the secret sauce. I'm gonna tell you what it is. It is write it down. I'm just gonna tell you. That is the secret sauce. There, if you want to, and I know people think, oh, there must be something she's doing. No, pretty much. As God is giving me these ideas, I am writing them down. That would be the secret sauce, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm saying that to you because many people think it's something other than that. And it isn't. It isn't. So, if you are interested, let me go on, because I saw a couple more comments. I see, oh, hi, Trish, how are you? And Trish says, grab your pen and record it when you don't want to. And that's the truth. And you know what? Whether you do, I'm going to tell you another way you can do it. On your phones. Our cell phones might as well be, mine is right here. Let me tell you. Go use your Google Keep. Use your Google Docs. whatever you have to write it down. I don't care what it is, but write it down. If I honestly, ladies and gentlemen, I can't even tell you how many ideas I have. I can't even tell you because I don't even know. Even one of my sons told me that. He goes, "Don't even count, Mom. Don't even try. Just write it down and keep on going and keep just and what I've learned too is marinating in my head all the like once I for me, it's funny, and my sons are different. I have a title first and then I go from there. My sons write and then they get their title. There is no right or wrong to this, by the way. Whatever their method is and works for them, that's fine. Whatever my method works for me, that's fine. So we have this thing about, well, what's the best way? There is no best way. There isn't one. So don't even look for that. Because don't even worry about it. Just do it. And I see Erica Natural Monet loves Mula. I don't know what that means. Nature Mula. Loves Mula. But welcome to the show, Erica. And Trish said, oh, good nuggets. Now, you know, Trish, you're a writer. Let me tell you, like, now, not only is she a writer, here's Trish. You know I got to brag on you. Okay. What page are you on, Trish? Because I don't know. Okay. Trish Thomas is in this book, by the way. She's in here. I'm going to pull up her page in just a second. She is a prolific author. Prolific. I'm so proud of her. This was a very first publication she's in. Transformations that came out last year. You guys will start seeing information about the next one coming. It's what is it? It's not Revelations. Reflections. I'm sorry. Reflections will be out. It'll start coming this summer. But Trish, let me find yours real quick here. Hold on. And I want to show everyone your picture, your page, everything. I'm so proud of her. Here she is. Because I'm so proud of all the authors in here. And this is hers. This is Trish. This is her beautiful picture and her story. No, not me again. This is really, I mean, you ladies and gentlemen, you got to get this book. You don't have to get it because I'm in it also. I have poetry in it. I didn't put in these short stories, I think. But mine are poetry. And one of them is, like I said, with Trisha's book. And even when I put one in here, I just felt like I need to be in here. I want to be included with these authors. Because that's how fabulous they are. They're outstanding. So, ladies and gentlemen, and this, if those of you that say you may have a poem, but you may not have enough for a book, there's even a song in there. We even have an author that has a song in there, and that's Linda. I'm Linda Herndon Webb. Her song is in there. So I'm saying this to you, ladies, gentlemen. There's so much you have to offer. There's so much. There's so much wisdom. If you're on this planet and you've lived this long, you could not have made it this far without wisdom. Without wisdom. Look what we just went through. Many of us lost family, we lost friends, we lost church members just to survive the pandemic. I feel like my goodness. And it's not over, but I'm just saying, just to be a survivor of this side of it, where you can, those that choose to get the shot, not to get the shot. I don't want to get into political stuff about that. But the point is, you hear whatever you need to say. I can't stress this enough. If you don't write it, it's going right in that graveyard with you. That's it. That's about the truth of it. And I hate to even sound like that, but that's the truth. And I don't want anyone to ever say, oh, I should have. There's no should have done it. Because once you're gone, that's it. I tell people recipes. There are things that people had that they want to share and they didn't, and they're gone forever now. Gone. Things they wanted to say to their kids, and they're gone forever. And I don't want that to be you. I don't want that to be you. Okay. And then I'm going through, Devon says, so cute. It must be the Justin. I know, yes, it is. Justin is what, and I almost forgot to add, I have another book coming out. I forgot to add that part. I have another book coming out. So watch the emails if you're not already on the email. Let me put this in there too. And that is how you can get in touch with me after the show. I'm going to put this in there. Where did I put it? Did I? Oh, here it is. This one. It's First Book Academy. If you go to that link and you put your name, your email, your cell, then someone from my team will contact you. Okay. Because I cannot believe we're running out of time. Look at this, 1:45. I cannot believe that. And I still have other things I want to talk about, but I may have to go to a part 2. But let me get as much as I can on squeeze this in. Okay, I'll make sure our comments are in. Trish even says it right here. Trish, what'd you say? You missed a lot by not writing things down. If I can get talk about if I get one person, think about this. Now I can see. It looks like to me I don't the numbers are, because I've learned you can't go by the numbers, because the only thing I see are the numbers of people that comment. If you're not commenting, I don't really know what the numbers are. But someone, please listen to me and write it down. Write your recipes down. How many times you have recipes? And thank God I wrote it down. My aunt had a recipe. I wrote it down for what was it? A hot homemade ice cream. But one day, this was just long before I even became a writer. I said, I just called her Vesta. It was my aunt Vesta. And I said, Vesta, what is the recipe for that? I wrote that recipe. I still have that recipe today. My aunt is gone, unfortunately. I love my aunt. But what if I hadn't written it down? That recipe would have went with her. So I'm saying these things. I'm not trying to, I feel like I'm preaching. If you want to know truth about it. That's what I feel like. Anyway, Trish said, hi, Mary. I said, hi, Trish. And then I'm saying these things because I so want you to get this. Now, I will say this. My husband and I have a publishing company, Front Page Publishing. Let me also say this to each and every one of you. If you never use our company, I'm good. We good. The point is, write it down, because you don't know what it could be. It could be a play. It could be a movie. It could be a whole lot of things, but it can't be anything if it's not written down. I actually went to a classroom. This is before the pandemic happened. And they asked me to speak to the students, which I did. And then at the end, the teacher says to me, which I knew what he meant when he said, he goes, I have so many stories in my head. I have this going on. I can do this. I can do that. And I said it as nicely as I could. I said, sir, you have nothing. That man literally stepped back away from me. Well, what do you mean I have nothing? I said, okay, I'm going to make it very simple for you. What have you written down, sir? That's all I said. That man got mad. He got an attitude with me. And I sat there and I thought, you know why he had attitude? Because he knew you were telling the truth. And when he said he had all these stories running around his head, they are running around in his head. Because nobody could edit what's running around in his head. So I'm saying this to each and every one of you the nicest way I can. Write it down. That, when I said I'm going to reveal the secret, there is the secret. Right there. And then Elaine says, I'm getting it, Mary. Are we getting it, Elaine? Because I'm putting it out there. You won't have to ever ask me again what's the secret, because I'm going to tell you the secret sauce. Write it down. And you said you tagged your daughter, Erica. Thank you, Erica. And she's a writer. Oh, my God. Yep, I know. If she's a writer, but see, if she's a writer, then I don't have to really tell her that, truthfully. She probably already knows that. But even though we're writers, think about what Trish said. She's like, we all do this, by the way. We all do it. But when you write it down, there's so much power. When I can come back to my notebooks and see what I wrote, and you know what I like about it? I don't have to worry about it anymore. I don't have to think about it anymore. I can come back whenever I want to, and it's right there. But if I don't write it down, I can't edit it. I can't do anything. So and not only that, we're going to forget, by the way. Oh, you're welcome, Trish. You're so welcome. And Sabrina, you said, and I want to tell my story, but I've learned my mom had a wonderful story as well, from Cali to Philly. Yeah. Have her tell her story. Like I said, did I put the link in there? You got go to the link and we can talk. You said the truth hurts. Yeah. I've had people tell me this. I can't tell my story. This lady just told me this recently. She said, I can't tell my story till my mother dies. That's what she told me. I said, I'll tell you what. Then you write that story under another name and you write that story. Change the names. because I could tell she literally started trembling. She started trembling. That's how emotional it is. So I'm just saying, ladies and gentlemen, I told her change the name and write that story. Change your name, their name, everybody's name, but write the story. Hi, David. How are you? David says, listening in, Mary. Thanks for the topic. Oh, you're welcome, David. David, I'm telling you, we met not that long ago. I was so glad. So if anybody else you'd like to meet, let me know. And we just happen to go just go out for a glass of wine, just to enjoy each other's company. I'm telling you, whenever I can, I try and do those kind of things. I can't say I can do it all the time, but we'll see. We'll see. But I'm saying this to say, let me go on because we're getting near the, oh my goodness, I only have 9 minutes left. Okay. I'm just now I have to calm down from that. I'm to write it down because I hear, all I can say is, ladies and gentlemen, if you do the things I have said do, you'll be amazed. Because once you start writing it down, once you start, it takes a life of its own. It takes on an energy. I can't even describe it. It is an entity. Now, keep in mind, you haven't even seen all the books I've written because it takes time for me to get it edited. In those children's books, I have to hire illustrators, people to write to bring my words to life. Like, as I mentioned before, it's a 1 to 2 year project easily, but it cannot get there unless I start. You got to start. If you keep saying I can't do it and I can't this, well, one thing we know for sure, it's totally free. Writing that story down is free. So nobody can tell me, oh, it costs this. It's totally free to write that story down. It doesn't cost not 1 cent. So there's no excuse on that. Now, when we move into, you've typed it up and now you need an editor. Now we're on a different level. You have a story. That's the different level. But there is no story, there is nothing to edit. That's really what it is. And Trish, I want to thank you for that. Trish says, great show, Mary. You said I'm late for a meeting. I'll watch the replay and share this because others need to be inspired by this. Write it down, folks. And doesn't it sound so elementary? It really does, but it isn't. It is probably, ladies, gentlemen, this is one of the powerful things I can tell each and every one of you. If you do this one thing, you'll change your life. You could actually, depending on the story, maybe it was change your zip code. I'm gonna tell you. I'm looking at the man that wrote Hamilton. Only thing is, I think he spent 7 years. Think about that. 7 years on a musical that he didn't even know if it was going to be a hit. And now, someone told me, I think there's 7 or 8 Hamilton companies touring the world. Think about this. He makes $1 million per day on a 7-year investment. Not to mention, and I have, if you guys look at my library books, his books volume, I don't even know if I can show you some of them there. You can see some of them, but there's a lot more than you see. But the point is, it really encourages me. All of those authors wrote it down. Think about that. That's a simple thing. I don't know how to stress enough. Simplicity. We don't have to get complicated with this. We really don't. And then I would tell you too, write what you know. That's what I did. When I wrote Saying No Nicely, everything that you read in that book, I have used. Think about this. Everything. And this is a nugget for those of you that stayed through the end, that I'm gonna give you the nugget. This is one of my favorite. We're near the end now. Saving note. I just wanted to make sure, because I promised you I was going to give you one out of the book. And it is, if someone is asking you to do something and you don't want to do it, or it's not yours to, whatever the case may be, you need to say no. This is my go-to. Thank you for asking me. I really do appreciate it, but I can't do that. I never even used the word no. Thank you for asking me. Thank you. So what did you just do? You thanked them. You didn't say no. You, don't be doing that, by the way. And I talk about that in the book too. That no, you don't try to avoid as much as possible just saying straight up no. Because how you say it is just as important as what you say. But think about how nice, oh, thank you for asking. I appreciate it, but no, I can't do that. Or even if when you put the no in there, that's still fine. You thank them for asking you. You appreciate them for appreciating you. And then that's what you do. And when you do that, you maintain the relationship. And then you don't have the, she done said no. Another thing too, don't say no too much. Let me say that. I'm going to throw that caveat in there. Don't be so, oh no, now I know how to say no. I'm going to start saying it. And you know what? Your name is going to come right off that guest list. That's what happens. You say it too much. People are like, oh, she don't want to come? Okay. She didn't say it. The rule of thumb is 3. If you said no to a person twice, on that third time, they're not going to ask you anymore. That's pretty much, it's not just my rule of thumb, that's the rule of thumb. Because I watch other people do the same thing. So it's not just me. You're going to have 3 times for somebody to ask you to do something. They're going to say, okay, they don't want to be bothered with me. And that may not even be the truth. But you need to say yes if you want to maintain that relationship and stay on that guest list. Just tidbits. But I'll tell you, ladies and gentlemen, oh, thank you, Lin-Manuel Miranda. That's him. Let me put that in there. I have so much respect for that man. So much respect. Because he was willing. I mean, think about it. They went, his wife, I think his wife was a teacher. I don't know if she's a teacher or a college professor, but I don't know. But the point is, for 7 years, he was writing that musical. That in itself is phenomenal to me, that you would spend that much time. But he did. He did. So I would tell you, and every book, this is what I always say, they all have their own energy and everything else. Because this is a book, as I always show, this is from I say one of my youngest authors, she's 90. Hi, Dr. Henry. This is her book. She had been writing this book for 15 years. She'll tell you this, not just me telling you. 15 years. We had it for 6 months. I say we, the publishing company. And here you have the book. Think about it. 15 years she was writing this book. Now, and you may say, well, why couldn't she get it published? And this is my autographed copy from her. And she says, thank you for getting a book published. You know why? This is what I think, ladies and gentlemen. We all do this, by the way. It's not just her. We all do this. We get in our own way. We're worried. I'll use my granddaughter as an example, because she's a writer too. And she said, her name is Nasea. I said, Nasea, let me publish a book for you. She goes, no. I said, why? She said, because people are going to talk bad about it. And I said, what? She said, Nana, they're going to say negative things. And I said, I didn't laugh. I think I did laugh. And I said, Nasea, they say negative things about my books. She goes, what? And she goes, and you're okay with that? I said, I'm fine with it. She goes, why? I said, all I say, Nasea, is I want to read their book. Think about that. I want to read your book. You can say whatever you want to say about my book. And it could be true. I don't know. But the point is, I still keep writing. It has not stopped me from writing anything. Because people are going to be people. So any of you that are afraid of that, let me tell you right now, wake up and don't be worried about what people say. And I'm saying that because somebody is thinking that. They're like, oh, I would write a book, but somebody going to say negative. And so what if they do? People talk negative. I don't know if you guys know this. Hamilton, They have actually said it is not historically correct. Guess what I know? He still got all them companies doing these shows all over the world. I've heard him say it. So I'm saying that to you. Don't let what people say affect you. And I know I'm down. I'm out of time. God bless each and every one of you for being on the show today. I love you. I'll see you again Monday. I may do a part 2 next Monday. We'll see. But we'll definitely, oh, thank you. And I will be back. Bye, everybody.